9.
Good evening, Western New York. We're back. Sorry about the technical hiccup. Can you hear me now? First, before I talk, give me the thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm looking here. Looking. Anybody tell me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I hope you can. Let's assume you can. Wait a second. Let's assume you can. Oh, here we go. Wait. The old one. Give me a second so I can see your comments. Here we go. Kyle? Hi, Kyle. How you doing? Can you hear me? Is everyone good? Can you hear me? Jeremy Will, how are you? Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Can someone give me a thumbs up here? Okay, I got a thumbs up so we can hear me. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm sorry about the technical error there. We're back, and I just wanted to tell everybody I'm excited about the next 50 some odd days. I mean, you can feel the energy starting to build up. And if I'm entirely honest, the special election, we had our base, but so many people were confused. It was a confusing election, and COVID was still so new, and people were scared, and it was hard to get people motivated the way I think we can for November 3rd, because everybody, and I mean everybody, is paying attention right now. And I keep reminding you, we only got to make up this much space. We don't got to make up the whole thing. People know who I am. People know who my competition is. People know he's the guy who voted wrong. He can't even understand how to vote. I mean, that story is going to stick with him for the rest of his life. And we are this close to winning. So I want to talk about that. I wanted to answer your questions, and I want to talk about Labor Day for a second. Polly, how you doing? Polly's amazing. She's made so many phone calls for us, and we miss you, Polly. We're sorry we're not there in the Hamburg office. I'm trying my best to keep people safe. And you can see when we do the events online, I tell my staff, make sure before I get there, everyone is spread out. We're all wearing masks. It's not the same, but it's different, and we're adapting. And one of the ways we're adapting is by doing these videos. Kelly, always good to see you on the line. Christopher, good to see you, my friend. Christopher, I always enjoy your comments. I got to say, you can make great comments. Dylan Dwyer Gibson. Dylan, how are you? Good to see you on here. Polly's doing great, which makes all of us happy, right? Torrin's on the line here. I don't think you can hear me, but we're all happy for you, Polly, and we think nothing but positive about you all the time. We're grateful for everything you've done. And my staff, they're just totally enamored by you, I should say. Good to see you on the line. All right, let's talk about Labor Day. What is Labor Day? We know what Labor Day is. It's a celebration of the labor movement. It's a day where we remember the hard-fought victories for labor in America. Now, for a long time, labor's been knocked down and attacked as being corrupt and evil. I can tell you firsthand that the people I work with in the labor movement are some of the best people in the world. And they're not shadowy figures. They're your neighbors. They're maybe you. And I'm so proud of all the labor support we've had. I would not be a candidate that anyone would even remember if it wasn't for the labor movement. Forget about me, though. The labor movement has brought us the 40-hour work week, overtime, paid vacation, sick leave, the weekend itself. All these things you take for granted would never have happened without the labor movement. And you can see what President Trump is doing today. He's he's quickly clawing back any gains we've made. And there's been a long-term attack on the labor movement by saying, well, it steals dues from its members or it's corrupt. That's a lie. The labor movement is not perfect like any movement, but you can measure directly. As labor involvement has decreased in our country, so has the middle class. They're directly correlated. There's no single factor that more determines the lifestyle and the success of the middle class than the power of the labor movement. And even if the labor movement was against me, I'd be for it because it's helped my family, it's helped my friends, it's helped my neighborhood, it's helped everything because I'm a middle class person and I come from, lower class roots. And without labor, it would have been much worse for all of us in America. Ginny, good to have you on here. Oh, Cindy Appleton, one of my favorite people in the whole world. I loved your picture earlier, Cindy. It's good to see that. Let's talk about fundraising for a second. It's important for us to keep fundraising. I was fundraising even today. Why is it important? Because the system is corrupt. Very few candidates have had as many individual donations as our campaign has had. We've raised over the course of 2.5 years millions of dollars on small dollar amounts. We've never taken corporate money, ever. And even though we've taken small dollar amounts, we've raised that type of money that allows us to be competitive and hopefully win this race. But we're not going to do it unless you guys keep going. So if you can make a small donation tonight, I'd be very, very grateful. Even $10 makes a difference. If you can make $100, it's a huge difference for our campaign. And those amounts add up. And we're going to be using all that money, goes right into commercials that you're going to see in October and that we're producing right now. When you win, you will win. No, I will not accidentally vote to defund the post office or anything else. I will vote. By the way, you got to tell your friends. Nobody, as far as we can find, you find me an example. Nobody in the history of the U.S. Congress has said they voted by accident. I mean, this is a unique situation as far as we can tell. And if that's his job, is to vote. And if he can't vote right, what else is he doing wrong? And again, I don't know how he did it because you're allowed to change your vote. And the fact that no one on his team told him that he could change his vote, there's something fishy. You all know it. Either he is the least competent Congress world, or he's lying. You choose. I don't know which one is worse. Trump's press conference today, if you call it that, didn't have one mention of American workers. He doesn't want to mention American workers. Let's talk about what Trump has done to attack American workers. Number one, he has filled the courts and the National Labor Relations Board with people that hate the labor movement. People like Justin Scalia's son, people like Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. And these people have done terrible things like undermine people's rights at franchises like McDonald's to claim they are jointly employed. In other words, each McDonald's is treated like a separate entity. And because of what the National Labor Relations Board has said, those entities cannot be described as one company. So that allows McDonald's to avoid unionization. It allows them to avoid paying a living wage to their employees. The National Labor Relations Board under Trump has also made it almost impossible. Let's talk about something else. The Supreme Court under Trump has made it almost impossible for you to bring a class action suit for sexual harassment or racial discrimination, because you can't bring those suits in the courts anymore because your corporation or your company is allowed to force you into arbitration. What is arbitration? It's a private court. Private court that's often easily controlled or more easily controlled than a public forum where everybody sees what's going on. It allows people to keep racial discrimination and sexual harassment secret, and also allows them to have better outcomes when they're negotiating settlements. It's terrible. The Supreme Court also ruled that you can have so-called free riders. Free rider is someone who doesn't want to be part of a union. Some of these, okay, I take a step back. A union, there's union shops, and those are places of work where they have unions. And the rule is, if you want to work there, you got to be part of the union. Why? Think about it. If everyone's not united, the union doesn't have any power. But the Supreme Court has ruled now that the unions do not have a right to do that. So people can say, I want all the benefits of the union, but I don't want to pay union dues. And I don't want to be part of the union, which undermines the power for the union to organize. Also under Trump, he has ordered the various arms of the federal government to prevent federal employees from organizing on federal property or using a certain amount of time in negotiation for contract rights or worker rights. He's basically made it impossible for federal employees to be organized in the way that they should be under the Constitution. What else has he done? Geez, I could go all day. Well, let me think of the big ones. He's the worst labor president in history. Tell me if I'm wrong, but he has done nothing but attack unions. On one side of his mouth, he says he's pro-union, pro-worker. On the other, but what his actions do is constantly undermine unions. And that's what he did when he was a developer in New York City too. Ask the unions. They hated him. They still hate him. He's attacked personally the head of the AFL-CIO. I'm proudly endorsed by the AFL-CIO. He's attacked him personally. He's attacked the UAW personally. He's attacked Goodyear because he heard a fake story about Goodyear banning MAGA hats. How petty. To attack an American company that employs hundreds of Americans, if not thousands of Americans. He attacked them because of his stupid hat. What else? Any questions from anybody out there? But I'm happy to answer your questions. If not, that's fine too. But I think we lost the feed, Torin. Torin, you there? Torin.
Can you hear me? We did lose the feed from your house. Did the camera?
Ugly Mug must have broke the camera. I turned off on us. So we're back. Can everyone hear me and see me again? I hope so. I'll give it a second. Give me a thumbs up, Torin. We're good. We're good. I think we're good. Maybe we're not good. Can you guys see me? It says only non-picture here, Torin. We can fireside chat the thing. Okay, give me a second. We're working on it, guys. We're having a lot of technical difficulties tonight. Hold on a second. We're good. Torin, we're good now? Okay, let me see. Uh-oh. Are we on a new stream, Torin? Is that what's going on? Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. This is oh yeah, we're back. Can hear and see you now. Thank you, guys. Yeah, listen, this is the age of COVID. We got to do things this way. We used to be all together. Even at the end of the last special campaign, we would get together, but I always felt a little nervous about it. This is better. I don't worry about exposing anybody to sickness except for maybe my dog, or getting exposed for that matter. So we're doing what we can to be safe as possible. What I want to say. Okay. Dylan, thanks for getting back on. Kelly, thanks for getting back on. Jim, thanks for getting back on. One more thing about the labor movement and about Trump's doing to destroy labor. Well, the biggest thing he did is he outsourced millions of jobs, essentially. At least tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs. The tax bill that he's so proud of, his one great achievement, that tax bill has provisions in it where if you outsource production and outsource services, you get a massive tax break for a corporation. I'm not kidding you. Look it up. It's an incentive for companies to outsource. And the only reason it could possibly be in the tax bill, which it was forced down our throats unilaterally by the Republicans, because anybody who says that Trump hasn't had a fair shot because people have been miserable to him or whatever else, he had control of the Senate and the House and the courts for a long part of his presidency, almost 3 years. And all he did was pass a tax bill that put America in debt, hurt American workers, and made people richer, increased the wealth gap. And part of that tax bill was an incentive, literally an incentive to push jobs overseas. Why? Because Trump and his friends know that's how you can make money, by exploiting foreign workers and disregarding American workers. They can. When I see my opponent going to the Made in America store and all this nonsense, I get so angry because it's just a show. Because they've done nothing to support American workers. It's a show. And it's a good show. because people believe it, but it's so fake. It's so fake. They've undermined the American worker over and over and over again. The Trump technique is the old Soviet technique. Say something enough times and people will start to believe it's true. Maybe you even will believe it's true. Say you're for American workers. It doesn't matter what you're really doing to kill American workers, literally. Now, the COVID, literally. People will believe it. And that's what Trump has done. But the American labor movement, I'm always going to be for it. I will for my entire life. I believe in it. Again, direct correlation between unions and the quality of life for the middle class. We down again, Torin? I hope not.
Yeah, there's something going on with that camera.
Obviously, we're having some problems here. I don't know what exactly is happening, but I'll give it one more shot. And if this doesn't go well, I'll see you again Wednesday. We'll have it figured out by Wednesday. Okay? So last shot here. Thanks for coming back. Give me 1 second. Make sure I have what your questions. Yep, we're back. Yep, we're back. We lost all of our viewers though, Torin. It's okay. It's all right. Guys, happy Labor Day. I hope you're well. If you have time in the next week, go over to one of the labor monuments that exist across NY27. There's a great new one over in Niagara County by the reservoir. It's beautiful, a big eagle. Take a look at it. Remember all the people who died to make the labor movement possible and all the people who also died on the job. We don't talk about that enough. Too many people in America still die on the job. Oh, I gotta remind you, Trump also tried to loosen restrictions on child labor. Look it up. And all these things he's done have actually increased the number of people who've died on the job in America. And that was before COVID. He has been a terrible president for labor. And if people don't want to hear that, they need to look at the facts. And I shared some stuff earlier on Facebook where you can read about it yourself. But Trump is just awful towards workers and towards labor. Hi again, Kelly. Hi, Christopher. Thank you for getting back on. I apologize. Jane Maslow, one of my all-time favorites. I apologize. I can't control this. If it turns off again, we're going to end it. But before I do that, any questions from anybody out there? Oh, Lima this weekend. I am looking forward to Lima too. Oh my goodness. I love Lima. American Hotel. How many times do you think my opponent was to Lima? Ever? Now he's going to try to pretend. He's got 50 days to pretend he knows the district. He doesn't know the district. I would love him to do a geography quiz for the district. But I'll be out in Lima this weekend. Where else will I be this weekend? Hey, Christy. How are you? Thanks for being on the line. Guys, look at. Be hopeful. I know there's a lot of terrible things happen in the world. Just stay hopeful. Stay informed. You may have heard this morning I was running and this car pulled up next to me and they said to me, get out of this neighborhood. This is a Trump neighborhood. FFF. And it was sad because it was my neighborhood. Like, I live there. My kids live there, my little kids. And to be threatened like that in my neighborhood. And that stuff happens. The other day, we were at an event, and this cameraman came over from my opponent's campaign. And he knew all my team's name. And my team was unsettled that this guy knew their name so well and had done research on them. It's a political intimidation is what it is. And we just have to hope that we can get America back to normal after this is all over. So, fingers crossed, but this is crazy. It's a scary time. And I want to say to everybody out there too, listen, I was not at the protest on Saturday. I was at the protest on Friday in Rochester. And man, it was inspiring. The violence was not coming from most of those protesters. Most of those protesters were just decent young people. Most of my staff was out there on Sunday, and they said it was terrifying. They said that it was unprovoked. They said that 99% of the people were calm and quiet, and they just started getting shot. Nicole, who's involved in my campaign, she got hit right in the face with a tear gas canister, broke her nose, cut her lip open. It is scary. It is. She weighs, 100 pounds. She's not a threat. The fact that she was hurt like that is scary. And the fact that so many people were hurt. Last night they had no dogs, no pepper spray, and people just sang and talked. I mean, these are just people who want to be treated fairly. And, I look back in time. This earlier today, I wrote a piece about the solidarity movement in Poland. Every movement, Martin Luther King, the solidarity movement in Poland, every workers' movement, any movement asking for more rights, has been met with the same argument that it was against freedom, that it was against law and order. But people just want more law and order. People just want to have a society where the laws are applied equally as required by the 14th Amendment of the United States. Okay? The 14th Amendment requires equality under the law. So, listen, I'm for freedom. I'm not anti-police. I was the commissioner of police in my small town. I have a lot of respect for the police. I understand the threats they're under, difficulties they face, the same way as I understand the difficulties our nurses face and many other occupations. People deserve respect in their positions, and I know that the police have a unique position in our society. But people need equality under the law. And when someone is dead who had a mental illness, boy, should I talk about this? I'm afraid it's going to turn off, and it's kind of a serious subject. Hey, Linda, how are you? Linda Van Harsel's on it. Linda, you're amazing, and your letter was amazing, and how hard you're working it's amazing. Just keep going. Should I talk? Listen, I have a brother who he has a mental illness, and it's been a challenge for my family. I have a big family. Every single one of my brothers and sisters have had to, or my brother and my sister, my brothers and my sister rather, have had to deal with him and his problems over the years, and that includes sometimes the police have been called because when somebody is mentally ill, they engage in behavior that's troubling and can be scary. Even if it's not threatening, it can be scary. And even I, as a privileged, white lawyer, I'm very careful whenever I've had to call crisis services to help my mother or my family deal with my brother, because they ask, is he a threat? And I'm afraid if I say he's saying something threatening, they're going to hurt him. I can only imagine the desperation this family was under in Rochester, and to lose their brother like that, and then to have the police lie and say he died of a drug overdose. They lied. This man died, and they lied about it. They kept it secret. That shouldn't happen in the United States of America. People have a right to be mad. If you don't get mad about some stuff, if you don't fight like hell about some stuff, what's the point? Linda Van Harsel. Yes, Polly, good trouble. Listen, I'm in too much trouble nowadays. Too much good trouble. I got to watch it, right? Crisis services is a dangerous place to call. I hope not. I called them. Sometimes they've been great, but a few times I thought, whoa, it was, anything else I want to talk about with y'all today? Nothing. I care about every single one of you, every person on this line. I care about, and I'm grateful to. I love your support you give us. It keeps, like this morning when I got harassed, it felt good to see some positive comments later in the day when I talked about it. It feels good to know you guys have my back, even though we've been at this for over 1,000 days. It feels good to have good people on my team like Austin and Torrin and the rest. It feels good that I have people on my team like Hunter and Mary and Nicole who are willing to put themselves out there this weekend, the protests. It feels good to be on the right side of history, because we are on the right side of history. I'll tell you right now, and that matters a lot. I mean, I don't know why you do this if you're just doing it to get power. I mean, how many Congress people do you really remember? There's a few you remember. You might remember Louis Slaughter. I do, but not many. There's 400 and something Congress people, and do you remember them? I don't understand why if you want to do this for fame, you're in the wrong business. If you want to do this for accolades, you're in the wrong business. You should be doing this because you care about the things you want to represent and fight for. Or maybe you're just doing it to fight for your own family. That's what I've said about my opponent. Maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. I'm doing this to fight for things I care about. I care about Western New York. I care about the history of Western New York. I care about my family. I care about you guys. Almost there. Put your Biden signs up. You got to do it. Put those Biden signs up. Put the flags up. Do it. Let's fight. Let's keep going. Any questions from anybody out there today? I'm just reading your comments. I'm sorry. Look, if you guys, the guys you know me, I'm a genuinely optimistic and hopeful person. I'm driven. There's no doubt about that. I'm driven, and if I see injustice, sometimes I can't tolerate it. You guys saw my debate, and I recently spoke in front of the trade unions, and they gave me a lot of positive feedback about that debate. You guys know who I am. I'm not perfect. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm always going to be that way. But I'm going to do the same thing when I go to Washington. This camera, we're going to set up this camera in my office in Washington. I'm going to do broadcast live from Washington. When I do a vote, I'm not going to say, oh, I made a mistake and go to the airport. I'm going to go to my office, and I'm going to talk to you about the vote. And you can call me out if you want to. That's how it's going to work. That's how it's going to work. We're going to be right there for you until the end. Any other questions? Troy, I think we're good. I don't see any other questions from anybody. So we're going to maybe call it a day. Give me one more second. Make sure no one has any last minute questions. Derek Hotchkiss saying thanks for listening. Matt, Zach, thanks for listening. Sarah, thanks for listening. Yeah, that's a good point, Linda. Maggie, hold me to it. I will absolutely put the camera. Listen, I'll be more transparent. I want you guys to be there with me. My office will be your office. And if you want to come visit me, come on over. Even if you don't agree with me, we'll talk. I'll be open. I trust you. Yeah, we've had too much closed doors. Can you imagine? I mean, this is one of the most working class cities in America, and we elect all these billionaire guys who don't have office hours and don't do town halls, and you can never talk to. Please don't vote for the party. Vote for your interest. Give me a shot. Don't you think by now we can't do any worse than this guy? I mean, come on. He can't even vote right. I'm sorry to say it, but he can't. Give me a shot to show you what we can do. I promise I'll make an impact for Western New York. We need someone who's willing to go there and get his fingers dirty. I'll be that guy. Just give me a chance. Cindy's back. Cindy, how are you? It's always good to see Cindy. Cindy is the best. If you guys don't know Cindy, get to know her. If you're in Wyoming County, get to know her. She's the best. All right, I'm going to call it quits because I am got to get my kids ready for the first day of school, which I'm terrified about. They want to go to school. I don't want them to go to school. All right, we'll see you guys. Bye.